Great morning, everybody. Welcome back to Try Together. I am your host and founder, Priti Bidet. You are tuning in for your cup of courage, hope, and imagination today. Today, I have with me in my mug some Starbucks cold brew. That is so bad. All right, I am here with Mrs. Mylira Green, and she's a really amazing person, and I'm looking forward to unravel her story. How do you feel?
Oh, I feel amazing, man. It's always a great opportunity to share who I am so that other people can feel comfortable in who they are. So I am so excited.
I like that because, I like your look, first of all. I don't know any psychotherapists, who are being themselves with like expressing themselves with the big earrings or the facial piercings. How was that for you, in finding work? Like, was that always an issue or you just take it out?
So this one here is fake. So I do take this one out. And it's more of how I feel in that moment. Like, of course, if I do an interview, I do kind of like dress the part, and it's not really me being fake, but it's more of I don't want them to get distracted by the loudness.
Yeah.
But trust and believe, after the interview, they get the loudness. And I know some people are like, well, you're kind of misinforming them. I'm like, no, I'm really not. I do tell them like, hey, I am very loud and vocal. My shirt, of course, you can't see it right now, but it says we are all humans. I literally just bring what I need. So I get to know the actual atmosphere first.
Yeah.
And then I present in that atmosphere.
Oh my God, Mylira, my shirt. Be a good human.
Yes. Look, hold on, wait. I don't know.
See, yeah. Oh my God. It's a moment. We did not plan this. Let me tell you something. And I say this every time. I always match my guests. Like nothing is planned. It's the vibration. I feel like it's because I'm doing the work I'm supposed to do. Like my glasses or something on me will match them, and we don't plan anything. Each guest. Like one time I had a friend on and he wore a gray vest, and I wore a gray vest. Can you believe that? And like nothing was coordinated, but this always happens. Like human and human. What?
Yes, you're in your divine alignment. Look, listen, when you work in your purpose and you wake up in the morning and you are a person that really follows your heart and your gut, then time has to flow divinely.
Oh my God. I really like that. All right. I want to share, about you with the people. So Mrs. Mylira Green is the founder and CEO of M Green Enterprises, LLC. As a psychotherapist, confidence coach, Reiki Master, teacher practitioner, author, inspirational speaker, life skills workshop facilitator, she is fiercely committed to guiding youth and young adults ages from 13 to 25, as well as women, to become unstuck and motivated to confidently reach their goals while owning their gifts. She's truly dedicated to serving as the bridge between the caterpillar and the butterfly. It's so cute. By providing the world with preventative services to lower the number of individuals in mental health facilities and people receiving post-reactionary care. Did I butcher that?
It's okay. So post-reactionary care. We are very reactional.
Wow. Can you tell me more about that? What is that? Is that after?
Absolutely. So, for example, we are very reactionary when it comes to our culture, especially when it comes to mental health. It's like you go see a therapist because a problem happened. You go to substance abuse counseling because a problem happened. I want to be the person that before the problem happens, I give you the education that you need so that the problem doesn't happen. There's too many people that have a life story for us to continue to repeat the same exact decisions. So when it comes to my business, I want to be the person to give a voice, to share my story so that other people don't have to go out. Like, I'm basically trying to put myself out of a job. That's the best way I can explain it. I don't want people to need a therapist because things are going wrong. I want them just to come to therapy to have a safe place to say, girl, this is what's going on in my life. So that is really what my business is for. So the post-reactionary thing is I want to be preventative. I want to be the person to tell you what is mental health. How does that show up? I want to talk to you about the 6 dimensions of life and how you can create balance in your spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, social, and cash flow wellness. All of that has to be aligned. So that's really what I do.
I really like that. And I like how you added the cash flow in there, because one of the financial instability is one of the reasons why people have poor mental health too, living paycheck to paycheck and things of that nature, not knowing, about that financial education. So I want to ask you, when did all of this start for you? Did you always know, hey, I want to work in mental health?
No, believe it or not, right next to me, I have this newspaper article when I was 11, when I said I wanted to be a teacher.
Aww.
And then my mom was a teacher, was like, no, you're not. So the moment that I realized I wanted to work in mental health is when no one showed up when my mental health was a little funky. And I remember being 17, about to take my life, and my dad literally knocked down the door moments before I was going to take whatever I was about to take in that moment. And it was the first time I saw myself for real in the mirror. And I said, God, you saved me because there was a greater purpose in my life. And at that moment, I threw my entire being into becoming a social worker, because I realized that people aren't just their labels. So I wasn't just this African-American girl that was in a middle-class household that went to church, had both parents. Like, everything sounded great. But although everything sounded great, I still was struggling with depression, with anxiety, and nobody was willing to listen to me because they didn't want to see me in my real environment. And that's when I said, you know what? I got to go into mental health, because mental health don't have a look. It doesn't have a status. It doesn't have a race. It doesn't have a disability. It doesn't have a health condition. Mental health is present with every person that has a brain. So if I can be the person to really see the person, then that's really where it started. So I went on this journey about 5 years ago when I had my daughter, and I said, my story cannot be her story. And I literally started to share my story from my sexual abuse and assault, my sexual experiences from 3 years old to 13, literally like everything I've experienced, my miscarriages, all of that. I began to put a story to it so I can begin to heal, to help other people heal. And now I do it in various capacities. But mental health is so important to me because everybody that can think has a mental health. And if I can shift the biases, if I can shift the negativity around that, then that's what I have literally dedicated my entire being to doing.
Wow. Firstly, thanks for being so transparent, because, I was on a call last night, and, some people have not even reached to that point where they can share, hey, I've been through this, and this, because they haven't even told their family yet. So for you to be voicing yourself, like, you're really on the other side of things, because you don't fear what anyone has to say, because it's your truth. And you feel free, don't you? Like, you feel like there's no burden.
I do. I tell people all the time, like, your healing journey is not to force anybody else to heal. So when I first wrote my first book, when I was talking about like my self-esteem issues and how I wish my family would show up, I didn't write the book and put people names and this person did this. Like, it was not meant for that. It was meant to free me. And that is literally what I started doing. And when I began to start sharing, then other people began to start healing by themselves. It wasn't to force you to heal. And if you got mad with me about it, I apologize. Look, I'm sorry you felt this way, but this was not about you, baby. This was all about me. And now I'm free to talk. And if it offends you, that means you may need to do some changing, because there's things that people can say about me that I did because of my experience of trying to heal. And I take ownership and I say, look, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. But I know I get offended because something that you said was true. So now I'm free. I tell my story. I share it with my daughter so she can understand. My mom has healed with me. Like, it has been such a freeing journey. And even I tell people, as a therapist, people are in my inbox all the time. Some of my coworkers, Mylira, you a little transparent. What do you feel about your clients? I get clients because they know I know how they feel. I don't care about that.
Wow. I really like that. You're a powerhouse. First time I'm talking to you, and it's like, damn, like, it's like, you're like me, like, we're on the same like frequency of things. It's like, I have a voice too. Like, you really go in.
Thank you.
You know, it's amazing. Can I ask your age?
Yes, I am 28 years young. And I say young because I feel like I don't ever age. I'm always the youngest person.
I know you told me before, Mylira, we're the same age.
I know. So we don't age, man. Everybody else around me is like 30, 40 years old. And then they be like, how old are you? I'm like 28. Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing. And, you know, I experienced similar things from the young ages. And I want to ask you, like, did you always know you were going to come out of it? Like, you just wanted the pain to end, but you didn't want to kill yourself, right? You just wanted the pain to end.
No, I did not know I was going to come out of it. And I still have moments where I tell people, mental health is something you have to constantly deal with.
Yeah.
And I have depression sometimes that knock on my door. And here I am as someone that do CBT every day with my clients. So I know the power of thoughts. I know the power of feelings and behavior. I know all that. But depression still go knock, knock, knock at my door some days. But what I've done was heal to the point that when it do show up, it gets so uncomfortable, it don't last long. Because it's like, oh, I can't be in here because she ain't gonna let me, you know, mess up her day. I'm like, you mess up a moment, but then once you come in, I'm good. But I say that to say, again, when I was 17, death did seem better than life. At that moment, I did not see a way out. I just thought that I was always going to have pain, that I was going to be this girl that everybody loved but never showed up for. It was really, really dark. But like I said, I had to actually find my dark room to figure out where my light belonged. It's a lot of us that are trying to shine our flashlight in an already lit room. And that moment of darkness is when my flashlight finally literally said, oh, you actually are light. But it was in the darkness. I had to get to the darkness. I had to get to death. I had to knock on hell's door saying, look, I am done with life. I don't know where God at. I don't know what my parents at. I don't know where nobody else is at. So I had to find that light in the midst of the darkness. And then that's when I said, you know what? Oh, I can do this, not just for myself, but for everyone else around me. And that's when I began on this journey.
I really like what you said there. Wow. So how many books have you written now?
I have written 2 myself. I've been a part of an anthology project as well with other women that spoke out about their sexual abuse and assault and domestic violence. And I'm currently working on a dope project called Why My Mom Too that's led by Quinea Futrell. And my mother and I are both talking about our stories with our moms and how it has impacted us and how we're now healing from our relationships with our mothers. So yeah.
You know, I think that's beautiful. I have a friend who also is healing with her mother. And, you know, when we feel like our parents weren't there for us or even if they know the person who abused you, they still let it go on. Like as a parent, how could you do that? Those kind of things. You know, you've been through so much and you're my age. So I feel like we definitely align on that because to be so young in our 20s and where our abuse started from yours at 3, mine at 5. And it's like we really didn't have any, you know, clear years as I don't want to say innocent, but I only had 4 good years where I wasn't disturbed. You know, what are your thoughts on that? Do you feel like you just started living now because you're speaking out about it? And the rest, the past is you weren't even living? Is that how you feel? Because that's how I feel.
I feel like I've always had a purpose. I've always been an optimistic person. So even in the midst of my pain, I found some place that was my happy place. So whether that was in and those places was not always healthy. So don't get me wrong. That happy place could have been food. It could have been my boyfriend I was with. It could have been my little friend circle. But I found happiness other places. But I will say I did not start really living until 2 years ago when I had my gastric sleeve. And the reason why I say that is because I carried so much of my trauma in my weight that I had reached 319 pounds. I was miserable. Mentally, I out of it. And I finally said enough was enough. I gotta start living. So I shedded my emotional, my mental, and physical weight through my gastric sleeve. And that's when I started living. So it took me to take off the mask. A lot of us that experience trauma at an early age, we grab masks to help us go on autopilot and still do something with our life. Eventually, my mask cracked and I couldn't do it anymore. And that's when I really was able to walk freely. And now I'm just me all day. I literally, I don't give any F's and I truly don't cuss, but I don't care anymore about what people think about me, because it took me so long to finally realize that I have worth too, that I have value too. And my past doesn't define my value and my worth. So it literally took me up to probably 2 years ago where I can say I was finally free from all of it.
Wow. You know, when I saw that picture of you, it was a surprise because I didn't know, that was your prior weight.
Yes.
Wow. How was that journey for you? Like, was it really difficult? Because I have a friend who went through that, and having kids around, she had to send her kids to family. So
it was more of a struggle in the sense of, so with the gastric sleeve, I had to go through a journey of course, going to therapy and me trying to figure out where it came from. And the biggest struggle was finding out the foundation. So as you know, I've had a lot of trauma in my childhood and young adult years. And with that trauma, food became my power. It was the only thing that couldn't tell me no. So I ate a bunch of it. I was the girl that ate every single Debbie cake, at least 1 or 2 of them every day, to the point where I was not full anymore. So when I went through the gastric sleeve piece, I had to figure out the why was I doing it. Once I figured out the why and I began to change the why and I began to shift the power to myself and not food, that was the first biggest change I had to make. Then when I had the gastric sleeve, one thing people don't talk about, and I'll probably be the first one who had the gastric sleeve, it causes yoni issues, feminine issues. So now the years of sexual trauma that I had, honey, it showed all the way up and then some.
Wow.
So then I had to struggle with that and trying to explain to doctors, like, no, I'm only been with my husband. Like, it got that bad. Like, I don't know what's showing up right here. So that was a struggle because then that was a silent battle. Nobody knew. They just saw, oh, Mylira's losing a bunch of weight. And then it is now that I have lost a lot of weight, I'm used to being the big girl vocal person. So, love yourself, honey. I don't care if you're 319 pounds. I used to wear 2 pieces and all that. Like, I always had the confidence. And now it's like, well, where do I fit? Because I'm not the size 0, but then I'm not the plus size girl either. So it's been an interesting journey, and I literally had to fall in love with myself. So now I work with a coach. Her name is Coach B from New York. I holler everybody out. But I work with her because I literally had to fall in love with me. I had to fall in love with food in the sense of nourishing my body with love. Like, I had to relearn food, relearn physical exercise, relearn how I viewed myself, relearn how I loved myself, because it's a totally different person. And I never would have thought I would be in smalls. I was almost in a 4X and I'm in smalls. Like, so the journey definitely was a huge transformation. And I'm just honored to be able to talk about it and show people it's doable.
Wow. It's a big journey.
Yes.
Wow. But, I'm glad that you did it now, like at this age, and then carry it forth. What was that point that led you to get it done, where you were like, enough is enough?
So I had my son in 2019. And after that, I don't know so his birth was very traumatic. We both almost died during that experience. But what really led me to it was I am bow-legged and pigeon-toed. But my bow-leggedness is in my hips instead of my knees or my ankles, which most people are pigeon-toed in that piece. Mine are in my hips. So what ended up happening is I ended up getting bursitis, which is an inflammation in the joint between your hip and your something else going on over there. But anyway, so as I used to walk around Walmart and things like that, I couldn't even do that with my kids without almost having to get into the electric cart because I was in so much pain. After 5 minutes of walking, I was only 26, 27. I couldn't even walk Walmart with my children. I'm like, yo, something has to change. And my doctor said, well, either we're going to break your hips to alleviate this inflammation or you're going to lose weight. And I'm like, since I've been 13, I've been on every diet under the sun. I've been a specialist. I've lost weight. I've gained it back. Like, y'all want me to lose weight, and I've tried everything. And they said, well, you didn't try surgery. And that was my last option. If this did not work, then I don't know where I would be, to be honest with you. And that was the breaking point. I have to be alive for my children. And if I can't even walk around a supermarket for 5 minutes, how can I see them graduate? How can I play with them at the park? Like, I couldn't. So that really was my breaking point. How can I be a mom if I can't even show up?
Wow. You know, you're one of the people who actually took their children and used it to inspire yourself. Like, I want to be here for my kids. Because who would look after your kids if you're, I mean, your husband, but, you know, it wouldn't be as sufficient as two parents being around. It's serious stuff. You know, surgery, serious stuff, the fear of it, the whole healing process. I just feel like it's not for everyone. As in, I feel like you built your resilience up to that point because it's not for someone average to go and do that. You know, it takes a strong mind. I want to ask you, when is it you started your business? Was that after?
So I started my business after I had my daughter. I had lost 2 children before her. And I am a person that don't sit down. So while I was on maternity leave, I signed up for every class that I could. I even was taking Hebrew at the time. And a friend of mine was doing life and career coaching. And she said, well, in order to actually do this legally, you need to have a business. And I was like, okay, I'll create an LLC. And I created one and I put a mission to it. And that's literally how it started. And that's why I tell people my business is myself. So I struggle a lot working with business coaches or doing business programs because what I have to offer is Mylira and I can't put me on a paper, you know? Right. So literally that's how it was birthed. And I love butterflies. So I came up with I'm the bridge between the caterpillar and the butterfly. But literally what my business is whatever you need at that moment, that's what I become. If it's dealing with a human being, and I know people say you can't service everybody, I'm just a unique person and I have to accept that. So if you need me in a certain way, that's why I say Mylira transforms. I transform you where you are. You tell me where you're trying to go. And if I have it in my capacity, we're going to go there. And if I don't, I have a group of amazing individuals that can. And that's how my business got started. And it keeps going every day. It's more like a hobby than anything. But it's there and I'm proud of it because it has transformed many lives.
You know, I like that you said that you're unique and you can serve everybody because you know how we're told to have a niche and have a specific clientele. But for people like you and I feel like we've gone through so many experiences by this age that, you know, I can, you know, relate to a lot of people. I can relate to molestation, sexual abuse, suicide, abortion, multiple other things, you know, because that's what life showed up for me. You know, I feel like the more experiences you have, the bigger clientele you can serve. You know, I feel like that is hard to, you know, have like a specific niche when you're certified in other things. Like I'm also Reiki certified, but you're a Reiki Master. So tell us, like, when was your Reiki experience and all of that?
Absolutely. So again, it has to do with my kiddos. Both of my children have allergies that we have to treat like asthma. They get a really bad cough during certain seasons. And I felt hopeless. When I say hopeless, like it was the worst feeling as a mom. You will give them the nebulizer. I will give them the allergy medicine and they will still just have this horrendous cough and they could not go to sleep. And something kept saying, place your hands on them. And I was like, okay. And then I kept seeing this lady. Her name is Ava Laura. She's located in the DMV area, and she was having Reiki training. And I said, you know what? Why not? And when I got there, I realized that we are all energetic beings, and energy can block you from certain things that you need. And I was like, wow. So then I did the level 1 and level 2 with her. And I began to see a difference when my kids would cough, when I would place my hand on certain chakra systems and set the intention of healing them, to the point that now my son be like writing the symbols and clapping his hands at night with me. And then I said, okay, well, I want to be a Reiki master because I do eventually want to be able to teach people how to essentially heal yourself energetically. And you can do Reiki for everything. And I'm a person, if I can make anybody's life easier, then that's why I did it for. And it was really for my children. And it has expanded now to family. I have friends that I do it for. I even reached a queen in Nigeria. And that experience, when I tell you, was so amazing. I remember when she was on the screen, she was in a small shop and you saw all the cars passing by the shop. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't know if she can actually get comfortable. She was pregnant and she was sitting there. And I said, okay, queen, I'm about to do the Reiki with you. And after I finished, she literally said, Mylira, that's what silence is? I said, what do you mean? She said, in all of the years of my life, I've never had silence.
Wow.
And that's when I knew Reiki was the way to go. And I do it for people who need it. It is a service that I provide. But honestly, if you need it, I'm like, okay, girl, I got you. If I got a time, because we are energetic beings that need energetic healing. It goes beyond just praying. It goes beyond just fasting. You got to heal your energy, because your energy goes beyond the day that you were born. Like, you got to know you are an energetic being from many, many moons ago. You got to heal that too. So that's why I do Reiki.
Wow. And having that testimonial inspires you more to keep going. Like, for example, when people give me testimonials about Try Together, I'm like, I have to keep going. You do it for the people, because if no one was supporting, it can be hard some days to keep going if no one's liking it or no one's supporting you. I feel like that makes it difficult. Wow.
It really does.
Yeah. How does your mom feel about, all of this that you do now? Like, can she believe it?
My mom is such a unique, energetic being that it took me time to see her for her and not as mom. Like, I had to begin to see Mylira. I had to begin to see who she is as a person. And now it is to the point where it's like, not that I've taken the mother role, but we have such an intimate relationship where she trusts us, like she trusts me. And she's like one of the people that do believe in what I do. So she did try the Reiki and didn't know what it was. And now she loves it. We're doing this healing journey together. When I begin to tell my story, she comes out and I used to see her just boohoo cry. And she's like, Mylira, you're doing everything that I used to say as a girl I wanted to do. I wanted to have a voice. I wanted to tell people my story, but I was just so afraid. And now I see my daughter, literally everything I want to do, you are doing. And she said, I want you to and matter of fact, this was like a month ago. She said, Mylira, you're doing everything that I dreamed of. I did everything that my mom dreamed of. Looking at you, imagine what your daughter's going to do that you're dreaming of, that you're not even going to be able to do. And when I say I bawled.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you cry?
I bawled because I was like, I had a point in my life where I didn't see my mother was there. And she was always there. But it took me to heal, to see that she had to heal. And now that I've healed, it's healed her. And now my daughter don't even have to go through the level of healing that we went through. So it's been a beautiful experience.
God. It's so much.
Yes.
Wow. I do want to go back to, how earlier we were talking about your appearance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you're comfortable talking about it, you know, the standards they set for, you know, Black people regarding hair and appearance, you know, how you had said that you're not faking it, as in, you know, you do have to look a certain way, otherwise people judge you, you know, to get work and things. So it's like, you have to do what you have to do. I feel like, so do you still, you know, come across discrimination and things like that?
I have not in my experience, because although they may not get the super huge earrings or the septum, they still get this nose piercing. They may not get the full, like, Mylira on the weekend. I wear crop tops now. Look, I done lost 140 something pounds. I show my stomach.
Wow.
But at the job, they still get the transparency. They still get integrity. Like, for example, I'm actually about to transition into a director position at one of the leading nonprofits here in the area. And I am transparent across the board. So you might not see the outer appearance, but you get it through how I present myself. That never changes, ever. All my Facebook stuff is public. All of my LinkedIn stuff is like, everything is public, so people can see me. You don't feel like you're being bamboozled. So although I had the conversation of like, hey, I may tone it down, but it's not me really being fake. So what I would tell a person is, you got to be comfortable in who you are. I'm not lying to you. I get messages all the time from people in my field that's like, Mylira, that was just too much. What you mean that's too much? That's my husband. So if I want to lift up my leg and show a picture on Facebook about how we making our marriage last forever, it's my, like, I've had to have those conversations, because I have to tell people, like, people want to see that you are human.
Yeah.
They don't want to see that I, you know, just went to school and got all these degrees and certifications. Like, that's a part of it. But when I present myself in a way, I can still articulate myself and still kind of bring Black. And I'll give you an example. So prior to me getting this director position, I went on some interviews. And I'm a trainer at heart. That's what I love doing. I love training people in the mental health field, because we don't get adequate training, if we're honest. So I got an opportunity to work with a company that worked with corporate, so that corporate can begin to understand the role of mental health. And as I'm speaking with the gentleman, I was told I need to tone it down a little bit. And out of all of my 8 years of working in the field and speaking for various colleges and programs and seminars, I never heard I need to tone it down a little bit. So I'm sitting here talking with my dad about it, and he's like, well, you know, somebody told Oprah the same thing. That's probably how she is the way she is. You know, I'm like, okay, I get that. I get it was a learning experience, but what about me that I need to tone down? Because the one thing you said when I first got on the call was, you got raw talent, but you were a little cheerleader-y. Okay, you got raw talent, but you need to tone it. What do I need to tone down? Was it my appearance? Was it my voice? Was it my excitement for people? Like, can you tell me what I need to tone down? And what I walked away from it was, okay, yeah, it was a learning experience. There are certain cadences and certain words you use for certain people. I get that, and I learned that lesson. But I can't change Mylira. So you're going to get Mylira in this bright hair color. You're going to get me with my nose ring. And I don't wear this all the time. You're going to get my big earrings and my cut. Like, if you were to see my pants, girl, it's a little tropical forest on my pants. Like, you're going to get those things, because at the end of the day, that's what people need. They don't need to come into my office and feel like all I want them to do is lay on the couch and tell me their problems. No, I am investing in who you are. And the only way you can see that is if I show you me. I'm colorful. I'm not dull, you know? And it takes a level of confidence in yourself to know that you are enough, and know that if something is meant for you, regardless of how you present yourself, it's going to happen because it's for you.
You know, I really like that, because it's like they want you to tone down your passion. Because I was told something similar indirectly when I went to speak in Atlanta, when less virtually. And it's the first time I'm doing it on stage. And then some people thought I was too loud, or I'm shouting, which I possibly was. I didn't know how loud, you know, it comes off in the mic. And, you know, I have anger inside of me because I'm so passionate about my story. And during that time, it was really fresh. But You know, a friend of mine said, I find that to be sexist. If it was Eric Thomas, Trent Shelton, Tony Robbins, you know, nothing, because Lisa Nichols doesn't shout, you know? So it's like, now you have a woman who's a powerhouse, you know, who's getting loud, and that's an issue. It's just like, you're the issue. Like, I'm different. Like, I'm unique. You know, I did hear your voice like earlier when he started speaking. I did hear that you're loud, but you're passionate. You're like me, you know, it's not for me to judge you. We're not supposed to judge people. You understand? So it's like, how are people, it's like you're judging, but then you say that, oh, don't be judgmental, you know?
It's a double-edged sword. It's one of those things where in this world, we are all taught to be a specific thing. So when you don't meet that specific thing, then you're told to do the opposite. So for example, in the mental health field, we have these things called cognitive distortions. And one of them is magnetizing your mistakes and minimizing your successes. Why? Because growing up, anytime you did what you were supposed to do, get good grades, clean your room, be the best person on your sports team, nobody celebrated it because you were supposed to do it. However, let me not clean my room. Let me bring in a C. Let me get in a fight. You're being set down and told how to change. Yeah. So the message I got was, I always need to change. So when we go into these spaces as adults, it's like, okay, I'm here, but how can I change to fit your mode? I'm here, so how can I change other people to fit my mode? And what I had to learn legit, like for real, I got this business, and I'm not even gonna lie to you. In the 5 years, I'm still less than $2,000 in money. And there's been many times I wanted to throw in the towel. There's been many times I'm like, well, man, if I just could meet the right person but I had to realize, yo, Mylira, you're different. So in all my spaces, some people are going to like me and some people are not going to like me. And I can't take that personal, because at the end of the day, the people that don't like me is because they don't like themselves.
Yeah, you know what it's also because how you speak. They may not see it as proper. You know what I'm saying? Because like saying like, yeah, they do like that, do be like that. Like, you know, it's like slang. It's like, oh, you're not professional. It's like, excuse me, I have a business and I'm a psychotherapist. I'm also an author. It's like, I know people who are millionaires and network marketing companies, different things. And some people don't know how to read. Some people don't know grammar skills. They never went to school. Like Bob Proctor, for example, like he didn't go to school. Like he was mopping floors. So it's kind of like, who are you to judge? Coming back to that.
It's one of the things where we've made value a money thing. So for us, we're taught, you make these certain decisions, you speak this certain way, you present this certain way so that you can reach millionaire status. But if we're honest, most of the people that are talking about this millionaire status, and I'm not going to slight nobody and I'm not going to use no words, the strategies that they give when they're at millionaire status, themselves did not do. So then now you have a person that is trying to provide for their family, that is told, for example, so my husband had these amazing, beautiful locks. They was in the middle of his back. And he was trying to get into the school system, and someone said, it might be your hair. So he cut his locks off and still didn't get the position. So now he's free-forming his hair, and people are like, okay, so what you doing? And they love it. And now in the fall, he's walking in as a 7th grade civics teacher. So do you see
that post?
So do you see how people have this perception, this box that they want to put people in, but we're all unique, which is why I made the I'm Enough movement. Like, we need to stop forcing people to look a certain way, be a certain way, present a certain way, because at the end of the day, you never know who that specific person is going to touch. And that's why I don't change no more. There's times where I may sound like I was raised in the projects and I just told them from a middle class, but it's because I've learned that people don't always hear proper grammar. I'm an author and still got to use Grammarly on a daily basis because I can't spell worth nothing. But at the end of the day, it doesn't take away my value.
But you see how it's like I do, read buys on a daily basis, but hey, what does this word say, And I'm a master, I'm a grad student, like, you know what I mean? And a co-author and all these other things. And it's like, we're all human. Like, so what? Like, I'm not perfect,
Yep.
Wow. And even Oprah, I just wanted to say, like, even Oprah mentioned recently that she still, has triggers in her book, what happened to you. Like, even in that, I believe she had mentioned, like, she still has triggers, like, even though she's Oprah, like, trauma is something that's like, I feel like it could be never ending, and like you have to forever heal. Like, it's just so ingrained, because especially from childhood, especially in her times, right? In color times. And it's just, wow. And I feel the same with Les too, actually. Because I don't know if you read his book, like You Gotta Be Hungry, but he mentioned in the program and in the book that one time he was at a colored fountain, I believe. No, he was at drinking from white only fountain. And his mom caught him, and there was a police officer, and she had to beat him like down to the bone just so he doesn't beat him with the bat or something. And like, it's that serious. But look at him now. It's like, I just feel like, people can say anything, but as long as you know where you're going, I feel like you can get there no matter how long it takes. Because it took him 21 years, Les Brown, to write You've Gotta Be Hungry. I believe so. Yeah, 21 years. Yeah.
And what's funny is, so I was telling my mom, like I said, I love Les Brown. His quote is on my website, everything. I love him to life. And when I was telling my mom, was like, oh my God, Mom, I was able to talk to him on Clubhouse, like the Les Brown.
Right.
And she was like, you talking about Les that used to talk to Head Start? Him? I was like, yeah. She was like, he a world-renowned speaker. I said, yeah. She was like, well, he used to kick it with us at Head Start when he first started speaking.
Wow.
So, it made me also kind of take down and say, we all have a humble beginnings. And everybody's journey is going to look, feel, and be different. So again, like I said, when you know that you are enough across the board, you don't feel like you need to dot another I, cross another T. If I never do another coaching session, if I never do another therapy session, if I never get another promotion anywhere that I do, if I never speak again, I'm enough. And when I die, I know I gave my best. And that's where I want to get people to. We do too much. There's a young lady named Toni Jones. If you look her up on YouTube, she does affirmation music. She's a powerhouse and everybody loves her. That's one of my dear friends. But she says this thing. She says, we are human beings and not human doings.
Wow.
And we are out here forcing people to be human doings in order for them to feel as though that they are worth somebody loving them. They are worth somebody showing up for them. And that is not the truth at all. So if I can be the person to tell you, girl, stop doing and be, you will begin to see how powerful you are. You are enough just the way you are.
There is so much to talk about with you. Do you still have more time?
I got you for 10 more minutes.
Okay. I was going to say, as being a therapist, right? How long have you been a psychotherapist now?
I have been doing this license for 2 years, but I did it for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Under supervision as well. So I've done it with people with substance abuse issues. I've done first episode of psychosis. So those are individuals 16 to 25 who just experienced their first psychotic break. I currently work with military personnel. So I've done a plethora of different spaces when it comes to outpatient.
I like that. Diverse. Yeah. I want to ask you, when you're a psychotherapist and then you also have your own traumas, what has your experience been like with that to cope? And then you also have children and a husband to deal with everyone's personalities and still have time for yourself.
So my husband calls me the best compartmentalizer, and I never realized that I was doing that. But the way he explained it makes sense. He says, babe, you don't allow one part to impact the other part. So what I had to do when I first started 5 years ago, when I got my master's from USC, I went to therapy myself.
Yeah.
And I ended up doing EMDR, which is, I'm not even going to try to break it down right now because my brain went blank, but I did EMDR to help me heal from my own traumas.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kept that therapist for a while to help me get through those things. And now when I find myself really needing a moment, I always go back to her. I always make sure I be able to tap in. So that's how I make sure I stay grounded. As far as carrying other people's stuff, I am I want to say one of few, but I'm a therapist that don't care about your diagnosis. I really don't. So when I'm meeting with the person, I see the person of the person. So in that moment, I'm showing up for you in that moment. I'm not trying to be the fixer or what I call people, you can't be Captain Save-A-Ho. I'm not trying to be that. What I'm trying to do is get you to see the beauty that I see in you. So if you're coming to me, so for example, I used to work in a prison and I used to get a lot of backlash because they were like, don't you know who you're talking to? Okay, he murdered people. I don't care. I'm talking to the person that when he get out, he won't come back again. So that is how I function as a therapist. I see who you are, where you're trying to go, and that's what we talk about. And then we do have moments where we do treat your trauma, but that's after I've taught you how to deal with your present. Because I can't bring your past into your present if you don't even know how to deal with the chaos of right now. So that's really how I compartmentalize. And then when it comes to my babies, listen, when I am done with work, honey, I am mommy all day.
Oh.
So when I turn off, I am off. And then I work with my kiddos, and then me and my hubby, like that's my best friend. That's my road dog right there. Then we have our time together. Then I get up the next day and I meditate and I work out and I read books and I fast. So then when I am now in therapist mode, I can be therapist because Mylira has taken time in every single dimension of her life. And I'm showing up how God wants me to show up. There's something about being able to tap into your soul, regardless of what you believe in. And if you tap into your inner soul, you ain't got to even worry about showing up because it's going to do the work for you. And that's literally how I function. I'm like, God, you got it. You got the will. So every word that come out of my mouth is you. Everything that I pick up is you. There's sometimes that my clients call it the Mylira-isms. They're like, oh, we ain't getting therapists no more. This Mylira. I'm like, yeah, I got you. Some people that come for Christian therapy, I'm going to pray with you at the end. You about to have a surgery? I got you. I'm going to show up how you want to. And I make sure that I keep within my ethics, my boundaries. But my thing is this, if we supposed to teach and speak dignity and worth of a person, it's not your diagnosis that I'm talking to. I'm talking to you. And that's what keeps me going.
Wow. I like the fact that you don't take it personal, that you're able to stretch and mold and transform. That's not for everybody either. Wow. Just amazing. I feel like you're a roller coaster. Like, holy crap.
I am. I'm not even going to lie. I really am. And I had to, and when I say I literally just, I'm going to say probably at my great grandmother's funeral last weekend, I sat with myself and I said, Mylira, you are you, honey. I don't need to anymore try to explain myself to people or how I do what I do. God literally made me unique. So if that means that my niche is everybody and everybody want me to niche down, I don't have to do that anymore. Because every person that comes in front of me, I'm going to see you as a person and I get to serve you, whether it's for money or whether it's for laughs, whether it's for friendship or whether it's for just that temporary moment. And I had to be okay with having a roller coaster life because the roller coaster is not bad. I tell people all the time, people tell people stop crying. The only way to get a harvest is you got to water the seeds that you plant. And I don't know but two ways that human beings can water something. Through crying and something else I ain't going to talk about because that's nasty. So I got to be able to cry. I have to be able to have these moments. I got to be able to release. So I take the roller coaster because I know that everything that I need is right here in me, which makes me enough. That's why I tell people I'm enough. On the Mylira Transform thing, join the movement. Because I want you guys to understand you are enough just the way you are and everything you need is already in you.
Oh my God. You're the best.
Thank you.
Everyone, you can find her at MyliraTransforms.com or here on Facebook or Instagram at Mylira Transforms. Anything else you'd like to say?
I just like to say, one, thank you so much for the opportunity to share my story and my heart. You are a powerhouse yourself, so I am grateful to go back and forth on a daily basis with our crazy posts and stuff. I'm grateful for that. But for those people who are listening, don't look at me and think that I've made it, because I'm still becoming every day. Look at me as someone who is in your corner, who is going to walk with you. I have not made it up here. And even if I ever get to a point where it feels like I'm up there with Les Brown and all them, I would love to do that. Yeah. But if I get there, I am still always becoming. And I am here to show you that when those moments happen where you feel like giving up, just go one more step. And I'm telling you, the rest is going to take care of itself if you just believe that you are enough for your creator to show up for you and get you to the next step. Because sometimes it's not even you. You might not even have the energy to do it. But I'm telling you, you got this, because you're always becoming, but you are enough right where you are, even in the midst of your becoming.
Michelle Obama needs you.
Hey, connect me. I got it.
Right? Wait, tell us your book names before you go.
So I have The Art of Just Being Me, which is an interactive guide to growing the courage of just being yourself. And then I have Free Thyself, which is a interactive piece for survivors of sexual abuse and assaults. Both can be found on Amazon. If you just type Mylira Green, and I'm the only one that's going to come up, you will see that. And then if you've ever experienced domestic violence or anything like that, I also have the Speak Out anthology with some amazing queens that also shared their stories. And just follow me, man. I'm on a social media fast, but if you send me a friend request, I make sure when I come back, I'm up there. If you want to directly talk with me, go to Mylira Transform, send me an email. I am very personable, so you're not going to get a secretary because I ain't got one. It's just me. So that's how you get to connect with me. And I want you to know you have a forever friend. We all need somebody to show up, and that's what I want to do. I want to show up for you.
Yes. And, quickly, I just want to say, I want to thank you, because one time when we're having conversation, you said, how can I hold space for you, or what can I do for you? And wow, that's truly an amazing, genuine person who's really being there for people. Like, I like to serve people that way too. Like, how are you? I'm actually asking, I'm not just being formal. So, you offering that, very few people do, so that was really, really great of you. So I'm so happy to meet you.
You as well. It's been such a pleasure. And I appreciate your energy, your spirit. Keep going. Please keep going. And I'm just excited to see what the future holds for you as well.
Yeah. Thank you for your time. And thanks everyone for watching. Miss Beverly and others. So bye for now. Like Les says.